The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. The sky's the limit. That's a positive phrase we use to mean that anything is possible or that you will go to any length to get something. The origin of the phrase is uncertain. Entering usage in the early 1900s, it could have had something to do with gambling, no limits on betting. Or, as this was a time of great excitement and growth in aeronautics, it could have been connected with flying. But wherever it came from, John Maxwell might disagree when it comes to leadership. John Maxwell is a renowned expert on leadership skills and the author of over 50 books. In his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Maxwell begins his list with the law of the lid. He clearly states there is a limit. The limit, or lid, to your potential is your leadership ability. Now that may seem like a rather negative start to the book, but Maxwell moves on by showing you how to raise the lid. Each subsequent law focuses on a particular way to better understand and improve yourself as a leader. Looking at your influence over others is the place to start. Maxwell claims that leadership itself is simply the capacity to influence others. If you have influence over someone or a group of people, you are leading. The law of influence states that leadership requires influence over others to achieve goals. If you are feeling like you don't have the influence you need, that you may have hit your lid, stay tuned. Law number 3 is the law of process. Nobody is born a leader. Leadership is developed. You can raise your lid through learning. Leaders are those willing to learn. Comforted by the fact you can learn, you can now look at where you want to go. The law of navigation points out that the leader is responsible for navigating toward the goal. This is more than having a vision. This is knowing your field well enough to guide toward the vision and being able to develop and rework strategies. The learning required here might be specialized to your field. You need to know your field and your competition. The leader or leadership team is responsible for guiding the organization. The 8th law Maxwell discusses, the law of intuition, points out that it is also important to develop an intuitive sense for people and situations. Intuition also helps the leader navigate using skills beyond specialized knowledge of the field. As you navigate toward the vision, you include others in a way that values them for their abilities and contributions rather than using them for your own purposes. The law of addition focuses on adding value to others and serving where most needed in the organization. You have seen this in action if you have observed the company leader monitoring the phones while the administrative secretary finishes formatting a crucial report. Maybe you have seen it when the administrative secretary compliments the new mailroom employee, and the leader makes a point to go meet her and pass the compliment along. The law of addition hints at the importance of good character. Maxwell reiterates this in a number of subsequent laws. The law of solid ground emphasizes that an organization should be built on trust. Trust is the solid ground. It takes time to build this. And according to the law of respect, it also takes a leader with respectable characteristics such as integrity, authenticity, and discipline. The leader needs to look like someone worthy of respect, valuable to learn from, and worth supporting with diligence and loyalty. This type of leader, according to the law of the picture, becomes something of an icon, someone to look up to and emulate. The law of magnetism explains that this type of leader draws similar people, further benefiting the organization. The counter is true as well. Leaders that are not respectable will draw less than respectable employees. Several laws tie these characteristics directly to employee relations. The law of connection emphasizes the need for creating an emotional connection with those you work with. As Maxwell says, leaders touch the heart before asking for a hand. The law of the inner circle complements this. Those closest to you in an organization should be the most trusted and should have your back as you have theirs. The law of empowerment means that a successful leader gives workers the power and freedom to succeed themselves. Build an organization that is a safe place to be creative, where no one is selfish with knowledge and skills. As each employee develops, the company develops as well. The law of victory states that good leaders celebrate and share the victories, the development and the growth, thus building deeper connections and propelling empowerment. Ultimately, a leader who empowers employees and shares in the victory with them is more likely to end up surrounded by more leaders rather than followers. This boosts the organization and opens it up for huge success. In fact, Maxwell calls this the law of explosive growth. Setting up an organization where people can continue to be promoted to leadership position boosts not just morale, but the organization itself. Instead of just adding value to your business, you are multiplying it. Thus, both knowledge of your field and a strong character are required to get the people in your organization to work for you to buy into your vision. The law of buy-in emphasizes that leaders need strength in both strategy and character. Clearly, a leader must be an expert in the field, but also important to buy-in is the leader's commitment. People of the organization buy in when they see a leader willing to give up personal freedom to take on responsibility. This is the law of sacrifice. Leaders don't sit around and make excuses. They sacrifice to reach their goals and to support their employees. You see this, for example, in customer service industries, where the manager steps up to serve tables or make lattes because it's the day before finals and all her university employees are home studying. Maxwell also includes several laws directly related to time. The law of priorities has to do with taking a good look at how you spend your time and maximizing both time and your environment for the accomplishment of what really matters most. A focus on priorities can guide decisions about how you organize your schedule and your workspace to make these work to your advantage. Another skill that deals with time is the law of timing. Similar to the law of intuition, the law of timing points out that good leaders often have a sense for the right time, when something is ripe for harvest and when it is not. Like someone who can see chess moves further in advance than their opponent can, good leaders gain advantage by following their sense and recognizing signals at the appropriate time. Finally, Maxwell concludes his laws with the law of legacy. How will you leave your organization? Maxwell says that leaders who leave a lasting legacy are rare. It is worth your thought now about what you want your final impact to look like. It is difficult to think both about today and tomorrow, but necessary if you want both continuity and lasting impact. Can your vision be carried into the future? Do you have a possibility of leader succession? Is your character strong enough that it will be reflected in those who move forward after you are gone? While no one leader can embody all these laws, each is worth consideration as you improve your ability to lead. And when it comes to leaving a legacy, it is possible for others to carry on what you have started and do even greater things. At any rate, Maxwell encourages you to keep pushing the lid up by honing skills and growing your character. Maybe the sky is the limit.